you have that single-click deploy, your people are much, much, much more productive. They're not having to do things manually. They're not fretting about it. And when you've got a list that long, oftentimes shortcuts are taken where, oh, this environment is good. I haven't done anything to it. In reality, things have changed. Can you easily promote a build? So what that means is you normally have a line of a production, a development build, a QA build, and a production build. But how does that build transfer or move between those states? Is it a manual process? Well, you really want that to be something that's automated, because then it can be controlled, it can be audited. You could say the QA person is the only person who can promote a build, or the QA manager, or what have you. And you'll be able to say and keep track of that. You have easy access to previous build artifacts. Build artifacts would be, let's say you had an installer you built an installer each time. Did the previous version do that? Let's say QA finds a bug, and they have the time and the ability to go back a previous build, let's say it's from the previous iteration, and test that. Is that a new bug, or is that a previous bug? The person can have that easy access to those previous builds, download them themselves, install them themselves without having to get developer involvement. We want to allow people to do things for themselves and not have to get the developers involved. That keeps those context switches down. So, as a summary of what kinds of things you should be thinking about, this may not be a conscious thing that you're walking around talking about, but in the back of your mind, you need to be thinking about, you need to be watching your team. You need to be looking for broken windows. You want to fix those broken windows. Broken windows means things that are happening in your team, or maybe happening in the software, that is dragging down the morale. That could be anything from, there's this piece of code that's incredibly ugly, and nobody wants to work on it. That's a broken window, because you may be having a lot of bugs in there. What should you do there? Well, you think about refactoring it. You want to fix those broken windows. Fix those things that are dragging your team's morale. Something that happens continuously like that can be a source of morale problems. You want to remove impediments. Anything that's impeding your team from completing their assignments, you want to remove those, unless they're doing something good. That may mean that you need to rethink the way you're doing meetings. If your developers are sitting in meetings a lot, and those meetings aren't necessary or aren't improving things, you may want to remove those impediments, or rethink how you do those meetings. So that leads into increasing productivity. What kinds of things can increase productivity? Well, we mentioned meetings. What about your developers' computers? If your developers are spending 30 minutes trying to do something that a faster machine or a faster piece of hardware could help them out, you can figure out, you can sit there and calculate the ROI, the return on investment of spending $100 per developer to make them faster. Remove manual steps. If your QA is having to come to a developer each time to ask a question or to get a build, that, as I've mentioned many times, that's that context switch. You want to remove those. You want to allow people to be able to get things for themselves, to look through things themselves. You want to remove those manual steps of promoting a build. You want all of that to be done automatically. You don't want your developers to have to sit there and wait for every unit test to run. You want your continuous delivery server to do that for you. And this is one of the things that I think falls through the cracks. Does the entire team know how to use the tools? And this is important, because if a team member doesn't know how to use, let's say, your continuous delivery, doesn't know how to read the unit tests, doesn't know how to find the results of those automated unit tests, then that really isn't doing its job. It's not helping that person. So you want to make sure that the entire team knows how to use and knows about all these things that you're putting in place. Otherwise, they'll fall by the wayside, and
they won't be helping the team.
So for more information, you can go to my website or my blog at www.jesse-anderson.com, or you can email me at jesse@jesse-anderson.com. Thank you.